till it's never with you. It's just never even fuller. And the magic flows like jewels in the gardens. Let's dive into the realms of DeFi Kingdoms. In the lands where heroes roam, with quests and kingdoms we call home. There's a monk who drinks and spins his yarn, and a caster casting spells at dawn. It's the drug monk and the spellcaster, guiding you through realms faster. Crystal Veil is staring down, break down quests and tell the tale. Up a chair, have no fear, kingdom secrets you'll find here. We'll shine bright with heroes summoned, ready to fight. The monk's got wisdom in every sip, while the caster's magic never slips. It's the drug monk and the spellcaster, guiding you through realms faster. Crystal Veil, staring down, break down quests and tell the tale. Up a chair, have no fear, kingdom secrets you'll find here. Jewels shine bright with heroes summoned, ready to fight. The monk's got wisdom in every sip, while the caster's magic never slips. You'll find here. Gardens grow, jewels shine bright, with heroes summoned, ready to fight. The monk's got wisdom in every sip, while the caster's magic never slips. It's the drug monk and the spellcaster, guiding you through realms faster. Crystal Veil is staring down, break down quests and tell the tale. Up a chair, have no fear, kingdom secrets you'll find here. You'll find here. So grab your mug and hold on tight. Let the magic up to fly, kingdoms take flight. To the realms.
Right, let's dive into DeFi Kingdoms. Today we're going to untangle this whole divine essence thing, especially how it's unlocking all these crazy arbitrage opportunities.
Yeah, the community is definitely buzzing about it.
For sure.
You know, for anyone listening who's maybe not familiar with arbitrage, it's basically just, profiting off the difference in price for the same asset but in different markets.
Exactly.
And with divine essence, it's like a whole new layer of arbitrage has opened up, especially when we start talking about hero NFTs, and then like the in-game equipment too. It's a whole thing.
Okay, so let's break it down a little.
Yeah.
So we got these hero NFTs in DeFi Kingdoms, and now players can burn them to get this divine essence. What makes this so interesting for arbitrage, though?
So the thing is, this divine essence, right, it's going to have its own market value.
Okay, yeah.
We're talking trading pairs with jewel, crystal, jade, all those in-game tokens, maybe even more. And that market price, it'll change based on all sorts of things, like how many heroes are being burned, how much demand there is for essence to repair equipment, even just like speculation. And here's the thing, that price is directly connected to the value of the hero NFTs.
Oh, interesting. So are you saying if that essence you get from burning a hero is actually worth more than the hero on the market, boom, arbitrage opportunity?
You got it. Buy low, burn, sell high.
Yeah.
Classic.
Simple, right?
Well, not so fast. You got to factor in stuff like transaction fees, buying and selling, gas fees for the burning process. It all adds up.
Ah, I see. So you got to be strategic about it.
Yeah, if those costs eat up your profit, not really an arbitrage opportunity anymore, is it?
Right. Good point. It's got to be worth it. So it's not just about the price difference itself. It's about, like, is the profit big enough to cover all those costs? This is getting complex.
Oh, for sure. And that's what makes it kind of fun, especially for those players who love digging into the numbers.
Right.
But maybe let's walk through a simple example just to show everyone what this could look like.
I'm all for that. Let's hear it.
Okay, so imagine you got this basic hero NFT. Let's just call him Warrior.
Okay, Warrior.
And he's selling for, let's say, 2 jewel on the marketplace. Now imagine you burn that Warrior and the divine essence you get is actually worth like 2.5 jewel.
Okay, so at first glance, you're making a profit, right? But what else am I missing?
Well, you got to remember those pesky transaction fees. Buying and selling, those fees depend on which marketplace you're using too.
Ah, right.
And then, of course, you got the gas fee for actually burning the hero, which that can change all the time based on how busy the network is.
So basically, to know if it's truly an arbitrage opportunity, you got to subtract all those fees from that sweet zero point 0.5 joule profit you think you're making. If there's anything left over, then you've got a good trade, right?
Exactly. But there's another wrinkle. This market's always moving. So as more and more people catch on to this arbitrage opportunity, the price of those warriors is going to go up.
Because demand goes up, price goes up, economics 101.
Boom, you got it. It's a self-correcting system, and that's what makes things really interesting. We could see something called a hero supply shock.
Whoa, 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 hero supply shock?
Yeah.
That sounds serious. What is that?
It's basically this. More people burning heroes for Essence means less heroes overall in the game, right? So the remaining heroes, those become more valuable, especially the rare ones.
So not only does Divine Essence create arbitrage opportunities, it could change the whole hero NFT market in DeFi Kingdoms.
You hit the nail on the head. And remember, this is just the beginning. DeFi Kingdoms is on multiple blockchains, so there are even more and way more complex arbitrage scenarios we can explore.
Okay, yeah, that multi-chain thing, that's what really blew my mind when I first started learning about all this. So we got hero NFTs, we got Divine Essence, we got different blockchains, multiple marketplaces. It's like a huge web of interconnected stuff.
You could say that. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Before we get into all that cross-chain stuff, let's talk a little more about what happens to the in-game economy when people are burning all these heroes. We talked about the hero supply shock, but there are other effects to think about.
Like, would it cause inflation or deflation in the game's economy?
You got it. Now that's where things get really interesting because the developers are going to be watching this closely. They might even change the game mechanics to keep things balanced. It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure.
Wow, this is a lot to take in. We've only scratched the surface. All right, listeners, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be diving headfirst into the world of cross-chain arbitrage and how Divine Essence is making things interesting across different platforms.
That's right. We're going to be talking about how you can potentially make some profit from the difference in Essence prices on different chains, like Serendale on the Clayton blockchain and Crystal Vale on the DFK chain. Don't go anywhere.
All right, so we talked about how this Divine Essence is creating these arbitrage opportunities within a single marketplace.
Yeah.
But now let's see what happens when we throw multiple blockchains into the mix. This is where things get really wild.
This is where it gets interesting for sure. Like we were talking about earlier, DeFi Kingdoms is on several different blockchains, DFK chain, Avalanche, Clayton, even more coming probably with bridging. And because Divine Essence can be obtained on any of these chains, well, you've got the potential for these price differences to pop up.
So Essence could be trading at a different price on Serendale. It's on Clayton, right?
Yeah.
Compared to Crystal Vale on the DFK chain.
Exactly. Those price differences, that's where the savvy arbitrager can really make some move. It's like finding something on sale at one store, but knowing you can sell it for way more somewhere else across town.
Okay, so I get the concept, but how do you actually take advantage of this cross-chain arbitrage? Walk me through it.
Let's say, just as an example, Divine Essence is trading for a lower price in Joule on Serendale compared to Crystal Vale. What you could do is buy heroes on Serendale, burn them for Essence, and then you bridge that Essence over to Crystal Vale, and then boom, sell it there for a profit.
Hold on, bridge. You got to explain that one. I know bridging is how you move assets between different blockchains, but it always sounds so complicated.
It's honestly not that bad. Think of a bridge as a protocol that lets you transfer tokens and stuff from one chain to another. So in this case, you'd be taking your Essence from Clayton, where Serendale is, over to the DFK chain, where Crystal Vale is.
Okay, that makes sense. But I'm guessing there are fees involved, right?
Yeah.
Those fees would cut into your profit, no?
You're definitely right. Bridging has these fees. They're usually called gas fees, and it's basically you're paying the network to process your transaction. How much it costs can be different depending on a few things, like how congested the network is and the specific bridge you're using, stuff like that.
So you'd have to factor those bridge fees into your calculations, along with, transaction fees from buying and selling the heroes and the Essence.
Right. You got to crunch the numbers. You need to make sure that the price difference between those two chains is big enough to, cover all those costs and still leave you with some profit, obviously.
This is like DeFi strategy on hard mode for sure.
You could say that. But there are tools out there to help people track these price differences and like calculate all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Oh, yeah. There are like websites and platforms that are dedicated to tracking crypto prices across all these different exchanges and chains.
Oh, cool.
And there are even like tools that are built specifically for, analyzing arbitrage opportunities in DeFi. Some of them can even like estimate your bridge fees and other costs. Pretty handy.
So if any of our listeners are thinking about getting into this, key takeaway is do your research, find the right tools, and be ready to do some math. Couldn't agree more. And it's important to remember that like cross-chain arbitrage isn't without its risks. Crypto markets are super volatile, prices can move really quickly. You also need to like be aware of the potential for smart contract vulnerabilities on any of the platforms or bridges you're using, stuff like that.
Right. Security first. Always got to make sure you're using platforms and bridges that are reputable and, that have been audited for security. Can't stress that enough.
Absolutely. But let's not get lost in all the technical stuff. What's really cool about this cross-chain arbitrage is that it can actually help stabilize the price of divine essence across like the whole DeFi Kingdoms world.
Wait, really? I would think it would have the opposite effect, like with prices going all over the place.
Well, think about it this way. If essence is a lot cheaper on one chain, arbitragers are going to buy it all up there and sell it on the, the more expensive chain. So this buying pressure on the cheaper chain drives the price up. And then the selling pressure on the more expensive chain drives the price down.
So they're basically acting like a balancing force, constantly evening out the price of essence.
They're like these invisible market makers, constantly buying and selling to keep everything in check. And that creates a much more stable and predictable environment for everyone playing DeFi Kingdoms.
That's a pretty awesome side effect. So to recap, we got this new divine essence that's making all these arbitrage opportunities within single marketplaces, and now like even more complex ones across these different blockchains. It's changing the value of hero NFTs. Could even be affecting the in-game economy and might even be like a stabilizing force across all these markets.
And we're not even done yet. Remember that in-game equipment we talked about? Divine Essence, it plays a role there too, which opens up a whole other layer of arbitrage potentially.
Oh yeah, right. We were going to get into how divine essence can be used to repair damaged equipment. All right, so let's shift gears and dive into that aspect of the DeFi Kingdoms economy. All right, so we've talked about how divine essence is like changing the hero NFT market and how it's creating these arbitrage opportunities across different blockchains.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about how this all connects to the equipment market within the game.
Yeah, this is where it gets really cool for players who are like super into optimizing their gear and finding any advantage they can. Equipment in DeFi Kingdoms, it has durability, right? And it gets damaged in battles. And if you don't repair it, eventually it becomes like unusable.
And that's where divine essence comes in. Players can use it to like fix their gear and get it back to full durability.
Exactly. And this opens up a whole new way to think about arbitrage in the game. Like, think about it. A damaged piece of equipment, it's just not as valuable as one that's fully functional, right?
No.
So players might be willing to sell their broken gear at a discount.
So you're saying someone could buy that cheap broken equipment, repair it using divine essence, and then resell it for a profit. It's like flipping houses, but with, magic swords and enchanted armor.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting it. Let's say you find this really powerful sword. Normally it sells for like 100 crystal when it's brand new. But then you find someone selling that same sword, but it's almost broken, for only 60 crystal.
That's a big discount. But you still need to figure out how much the divine essence would cost to repair it, right?
Right. So let's say it costs around 30 crystal worth of divine essence to, completely repair that sword. You buy the broken sword for 60, spend 30 on essence, so your total investment is 90 crystal.
Okay, and then you sell that fully repaired sword, now worth 100 crystal, and boom, 10 crystal profit.
You got it. Now, of course, that's just a simple example. In reality, there's more to consider, like market prices changing, transaction fees, and, other people trying to do the same thing. But you get the idea.
So you got to find those opportunities where the discount on the broken gear is like big enough to cover the cost of repairs and still leave you with a decent profit.
Exactly. And this is where it gets even more interesting, because this whole thing, it connects the equipment market and the essence market. If the price of divine essence goes up,
then the cost of repairing equipment goes up too, which means people would need to sell that broken gear at an even bigger discount for you to make money.
Exactly. You're catching on quick. And then, on the other hand, if Essence becomes really cheap, then people are going to want to buy up all that broken gear, which could make the prices go up.
Wow, so it's all connected, like this intricate dance between all these different markets, and Divine Essence is right in the middle of it all. It's crazy how one new element can have such a huge impact on how the whole in-game economy works.
And we haven't even talked about how this might affect the power tokens in the game, like Crystal and Jade, the ones used to summon new heroes. What happens if burning heroes for Essence becomes so profitable that everyone starts summoning heroes just to burn them?
That's a really interesting point. I mean, that would definitely make the price of those power tokens go up, right? As more people need them.
For sure. So we could see like a whole new type of arbitrage happening. People would be converting power tokens into heroes, then heroes into Essence. That's something the developers are definitely going to be keeping an eye on. They might even change things in the game to make sure things don't get out of control.
So it sounds like Divine Essence has really shaken things up in DeFi Kingdoms. It's like this whole interconnected web of like markets and arbitrage opportunities. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out.
It's constantly changing, that's for sure. And that's what's so cool about these blockchain games. These virtual economies can like mirror real world financial markets. It's pretty amazing. For everyone listening who wants to get involved, the key thing is to stay informed, do your research, and be ready to adapt because the game is always evolving.
That's some great advice. So keep an eye on those markets, think strategically, and good luck out there.
Yeah.
And with all these different parts of the game connected, who knows what other crazy things might happen now that Divine Essence is here to stay. That's what I love about these deep dives. It gives you the knowledge to explore these questions yourself. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.